This next section is called percent of a number, and this is relevant to many situations in your life when you're buying something and it's on sale or there's a price markup. The first example is based on the number of seats on an airplane. I tell you there are 400 seats on an airplane. 80% of the seats are in the economy class cabin. How many seats are in the economy class cabin? So the first thing they did was they drew a bar model to represent the whole airplane, all of 400 seats. And they split it into 10 sections, and they marked 8 of the 10 sections orange to represent the 80%. I think it's kind of funny, their explanation, I do not think exactly models their bar model. I personally would say by their drawing, it looks like they've split it into 10% sections. So if 100% is 400, I think then you would say 10% is 40, because you take 400 and divide it by 10. So then 80% would be 8 times 40, which equals 320. I think that's what the picture shows. However, they talk about splitting it into, if you know 100%, 1% is 100% divided by 100, so 400 divided by 100 is 4, and 80% would be 80 times 1%, so 80 times 4 is 320 seats. You can see you come up with the same solution, either method, but whichever you prefer. The other is to look at it directly as what they're saying, 80% of all of the seats. So 80% is translated into 80 over 100 times 400, and again, you come up with 320 as the answer. Here is a guided practice question that I'd like you to pause and fill in the blanks. And another guided question to pause again and fill in the blanks. Another type of question is on the board now, and this is where they tell you several percentages of the whole. Mr. Sanjay earns a monthly salary of $4,400. He spends 25% of the salary on rent, 30% on food. So the rest of the salary, we don't know what he does, but he has that left over. So this bar model shows you the bar, which would be his whole salary, which is 100%, 25% and 30% reflect the information they gave you. So if I subtract 25% and 30% from 100, what I have remaining is 45%. The next question says, well, how much of the salary is it? So you'll see this bar model is very similar to the one above. They've combined the amount spent to be 55%, so the amount remaining is your 45% that we found the answer to above. So basically you need to find 45% of 4,400. So two different methods of looking at this. 100% again is 4,400. 1% you divide by 100, you get 1% is equal to $44. So we take 45% would be 45 cents of $44, which is 1,980. So that's how much money Mr. Sanjay has left. You can also do it where you translate it into a multiplication problem directly. 45% times 4,400. So 45 over 100 times 4,400, and still you get 1,980. Now, one way I might do this problem, I personally think 10% is much easier to deal with. So I would find 10%, which is equal to 440. So 40% would equal 4 of those, which would be 1,760. And then, if I know 10%, I also know 5% because it's just half of 10%, so it's 220. So 45% would equal 40% plus 5%, which is 1,760 plus 220, which is 1,980, which is the answer they got when they did it the other two methods over here. Here's a guided practice question. You can try to just solve it here. If you need more guidance of what steps to follow, you can pause to read the question really thoroughly here, and then go on to the next page, which is the outline of the two different methods of solving this problem. So that's it for today. Have a good night.